Well, I made a video about conditioning, and I thought about it that all these movies portraying challenged or retarded white people, Dumb and Dumber, Forrest Gump as an example. I watched Forrest Gump. I loved it actually back then. But analyzing now from a racially aware standpoint, where they actually portray practically white males as the weaker, stupider, moronic male out there, as the weakest thing that there is. Imagine Forrest Gump with an Afro-American, or Harold and Kumar, White Castle. Imagine two white guys in China going around a movie making fun of everybody, and every Chinese is depicted as some type of weirdo or freak. I suggest you just watch Harold and Kumar, and you just have to reverse the roles. How do you think the Chinese would react? Another example is Forrest Gump as an Afro-American. Stupid is as stupid does. Just imagine other races in these roles. Why do they make so many movies depicting whites as retards, degenerates, rightist evil fuckers? Even in every movie where apparently neo-Nazis are depicted, like in American History X, or in those gangster movies from the 90s, where that white Latino wants to join a Latin gang. Even the white Nazis in jail are portrayed as homosexuals, where the Nazis are actually against homosexuality. But they do this as an insult. Oh, you're a white nationalist or a national socialist, but not in the official view, not in the program view of what you have. But if you have a racial identity, and you are for the truth and a revisionist historian as an example, knowing the truth about World War II and the true happenings and events back then, the truth is a lot more horrific than what you can actually dream of. VHR.org, research Allied war crimes, research Soviet atrocities. It's all justified via the Holocaust. Just Google Fred Leuchter, the Leuchter report. If you know the truth about World War II and what National Socialist Germany stood for, not for conquering the world, annihilating other races. If you Google black Nazis, you will see that even in the Wehrmacht there were black soldiers, and they were not killed because they were blacks. There were over 60,000 Muslim SS, Waffen-SS soldiers. The Waffen-SS consisted over 60 to 80% of foreign volunteers, non-German, from all over Europe and abroad. Even Americans fought on the side of the Germans. The problem is, there's another movie coming up, Rage. It portrays again the official term that you learn at school, that Nazis were evil and wanted to kill everybody and were racist. And it is portrayed over and over again from Hollywood, the official version of it, or even horror movies like Hellboy with evil Nazis, or even the Avengers. It's always Nazis, evil Nazis. This propaganda machine keeps on going to this day. And everybody believes these lies or has a negative view on the Third Reich. If you find out the truth, you will know that the Third Reich wanted peace, not war. It made itself independent of Rothschild-controlled banking systems. It exposed the Jews in its ranks that worked in collaboration with these banking cartels. That's why it was anti-Semitic. and the reason for the destruction of Germany and the killing of over 70 million German civilians was the goal practically to destroy them, because they found out they became racially aware and had racial pride and were free in their minds. And you can't talk about these with the program drones. But I'm learning how to talk. As an example, in the Netherlands, they're cutting back on everything. They're even telling the people who are in homes, well, old people, or practically in communities, yeah, they're saying that they're going to not pay for it anymore, that they're going to be going back to their relatives or will be put on the street practically, because they say they don't have enough money. Begrotingstekort. That means that they have not enough taxes that they get to pay all of this off. That's what they tell us practically. That they have to borrow from the central bank that enslaves the state. And hence the puppets, politicians, do the bidding of the Zionists in the background, Rothschild and his entire legion. They're cutting back on everything. On pensions, on these homes for the elderly. And then they're allowing 3,000 asylum seekers or immigrants in every week in the Netherlands. That's 10,000 a month. That's 150,000 a year. They get housing, food, education, and even possibly a job. Whereas there are over 800,000 Dutch people without a job. The Dutch people are starting to ask questions. Because we have it good here, we have to accept millions upon millions of foreigners. It's the European people that built the civilization. It is their home. But they're enslaved and are blind. Their homes are being given to foreigners who do not like us, who fear us because we are still the majority. And they are programmed to believe that whites are evil. Just imagine the Netherlands from Muslim rulership, Sharia law. I talked with a couple of Dutch people and I said it would come to civil war. The Dutch people would never accept Sharia law. They would rather wage war. That's what they want. Destruction of the white culture or Caucasian. They hate us. In the Talmud, they hate us. The Aryan man is the sworn enemy of these people, but he's blind. Only the Imperial Germans have the oversight and are awake. And all those people globally fighting the system that is actually there to destroy us. So, yeah, that is just a horrific scenario of what is happening right now. Massive influx of refugees from all Africa, from Syria, from the Middle East, from everywhere, making the whites a minority. And of course we'll still have control over the military, but via affirmative action they will allow all these immigrants to serve in the army as an example, and their allegiance will not be with the Dutch, the Belgians, the Germans. Their allegiance will be with their people. Pretty much what is happening in South Africa. Just Google Boer murders. Over 20,000 or 30,000 white farmers have been slaughtered since 1994, murdered because they were white. That is real racism and genocide, not reported in the media. That's what they want in Europe, in America, in Australia, in every white country. Our men are psychologically destroyed via the media. Passive, not being able to state that their women are their women. A race's most valuable possession are their women. From there, the race springs. The children are actually the most valuable possession. But just imagine man and woman, and the most valuable possession of a man is woman. I'm not saying this is slavery or something. I don't want some type of gender warfare. But nevertheless, the white man cannot state, these are our women, you're not allowed to have them. That's what the Japanese do. Considered racist, but normal. Actually, it should be this way. You can live here for some time, we can help you, blah, 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 blah. But you have to go then after a while. We don't want to intermix because we are racially aware and we observe the natural laws of nature and implement the natural laws of nature. Segregation and upbreeding. And the fact that racial intermixing leads to the rise and fall of civilization. I suggest you read the book March of the Titans by Arthur Kemp, A History of the White Race, an eye-opener, real knowledge, also suppressed by the mainstream academic world, does not acknowledge the fact that is stated in those books. I don't believe in evolution. We're too intelligently designed to have evolved by mere chance and coincidence and the trillions of quadrillions of years of evolution. A civilization does not evolve by chance. It's designed, engineered to be what it is. And so is mankind, and all its nature and flowers are all designed and created. Not by one god maybe, but maybe like in the ancient Vedas depicted, over 500 million deities, all working in the enterprise of this universe or creation, and with one supreme head or CEO, at the same time the most powerful and largest being in the universe, and that is the spiritual father. But you don't have to think of it like down here. Up there it's all jewel. All these 500 million deities, men, have their natural counterpart or females. And they have their natural role in the universe as well, as the women and men down here have their natural roles. And that is what actually the ancient kingdoms of Europe, the Aryan kingdoms, depicted. This representation of the celestial family in the heavens that rules over the universe. It represented down here the kingdoms, the monarchies, the king and queen, and all his family members, then his huge kingdom of nobles, the noble people, and in the working class. The queen does not have, is one of the most powerful women in the empire. But today we believe the negative views on all these kingdoms, that they were all abolished because the kings were despots, Like they killed Louis XIV from France. They beheaded him, I believe. The so-called French Revolution. It was instigated by the Rothschilds and the banking cartels in England, or it was before Rothschilds, but it was nevertheless Jewish bankers that financed that revolution. And they killed all the nobility. What the Zionist cartels did actually is behead and cut down the entire intellectual nobility of a people. In Russia, they killed off all intellectuals. So-called anti-Semitism was the death penalty. They killed over millions upon millions of Russians. All students were massacred. And the nobility was slaughtered. The Romanovs died. They always kill off the natural head of the people and then control the sheep. They tried the same practically in Germany in the 1920s, the communists, for a communist revolution in Germany, in the Reich. And the only ones that fought against them was the SA. The NSDAP party later on. They were the only ones that fought against it. They wanted the communist revolution in Germany, like in Russia, and they wanted to slaughter off the entire nobility and the entire intellectual elites and millions upon millions of people. And the SA stopped that. That's some real history. But you don't know this in school. You learn simply dates. Demon Hitler wanted to conquer the world, and he was a racist. And the white people are not having enough children. That is why we need millions upon millions of immigrants, so that they can pay your pension when you get old. It's all logic. Not stating that it could possibly lead to a civil war. The governments have to go bankrupt. They don't pay welfare anymore. Then you have civil war. And the victims are going to be mostly white. Because they're the so-called rich class. Work their entire lives to achieve this level of comfort. Working since generations, since thousands of years in Europe, to build up the civilization. Now it's being overrun by other groups claiming the right to live here. And when they come, they're poor, get welfare. And if the state goes bankrupt, that's what they're planning, the Zionist cartels now. The economic crisis, the destruction of the civilization, actually. That's what happened to the Roman Empire. But it got sacked, actually, via war, but that's another story. So they're planning this, yeah? And they're brainwashing us constantly. You can't even talk about this. I got even I don't know. This is just my YouTube channel. I talk my mind. I wanted to make a video about actually the vilification of the white man in the media. Dumb and Dumber, Forrest Gump, The Simpsons, American Dad, or Family Guy, or all these perverted episodes that are sick, who are normal in our society and everybody accepts because it's so awesome. Portraying Homer Simpson as a stupid retard, or Marriage of Children. All these series portray the white man as weak, down, depressed. That's because they have to weaken our psychology, our ghost, our spirit, so that we do not fight back and believe that we're eternal losers that only have a mediocre job and can't do anything in society. Whereas the men actually are the leaders. And that's why they have to destroy us and let the women take it all. And the women are actually empathic, emotional, more magical actually. They're not as clear, logic, structuralizing, measuring thinking, this logical thinking that the men have. They are more. That's why we dominate all sciences. Not because we suppress our women, that women do not create stuff. It's a fact that over 99.9% of everything what you see is created by men. And white men, that is. And they destroy our psyche, destroy our soul, so that they can be leaderless, actually, without a goal, without a common goal. That's what Hitler actually gave the German people. A soul, a folkish feeling. It was nationalistic, but they saw practically all white Europeans as their racial brothers. The Germans were the only ones that called the Americans their brothers. Whereas the Americans were totally brainwashed with propaganda by the so-called people you know who. That the Germans were evil, anti-Semitic warmongers, monsters. So they instigated the Bromberger massacres. I believe it still has to do with that. That they got provoked to invade Poland because people were being massacred of German descent. Pretty much what they're right now doing in the Ukraine, but they failed to do. I believe they wanted to provoke a grander war, but it didn't go as they went. The Mossad was active in the Ukraine. Probably the CIA, and even Blackwater. But I wanted to talk about, well, the white men in our society. We are the Templar Knights. We are the blood, practically, of the so-called being a gentleman and a warrior. The honor code. Chivalry. We are practically their heritage or their offspring. Because we are practically the so-called noble race. Aryan means noble, actually, in Sanskrit. It means noble. We are the noble race. If we are not brainwashed and we know the truth and are awake, we are the most noble and creative race out there. Creators of civilizations. All technology that you see today comes from Europe, the white race. Maybe some are made by others, okay. But the car, the aircraft, computer, modern circuitry, rocketry, submarines, aircraft carriers, diesel motors, fuel motors, nuclear reactors, fusion reactors, magnetic gravitational trains, spacecraft, and if you believe the alternative history, anti-gravitics, saucer-type aircraft, TR-3Bs, and much, much more. TV, what brainwashes the global population, was created and engineered by a white man. So we engineered practically technology that keeps us enslaved. I believe the Imperial Germans are the army of God. If I believe the truth, yeah, not all those brainwashed people who are, my goodness gracious, how can you say that? I talk to people who know the truth, who have researched the truth on every aspect, 9/11, AIDS, even Ebola, the history, physics, mechanics, technology, on everything. The soul. Well, what I wanted to add is that the Aryan race spread it all across the globe, even to China, northern India. That is why the northern Indians are lighter skin colored than the Dravidians, as an example. They went to Egypt, to Mesopotamia, Babylon. It all actually sprang from Babylon, apparently, ancient Sumer. Even the Caucasus region, apparently. That's why we got the name Caucasus. We appeared out of nowhere, apparently, and then spread across the globe. Well, those that have been following my videos know that I believe that we were settled here by the Aldebaranic Aryans from the Taurus star system. It had a planet, it had an empire called Sumeria, and the first settlement here, Sumer, was named after the home planet of the Aldebaranic Aryans. Well, I just wanted to make a video about everything, actually, talking about the vilification of the white male in society, and the truth about racialism, the truth about history, the truth about everything practically. And I would like to see a peaceful solution, that we do not have to wage war after war after war, and possible civil war in the future. And a peaceful society where everybody has this piece of land. Cheers.